Welcome to the Elemental Lifestyle Podcast. We're in our fourth season, and yes, it's been a bit of a break, and I really welcome you back as a continued listener. 3 years we've been celebrating, and today I'm really excited to launch this conversation with Baron Fulford. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Great to have you here. So, I am really in the space of curiosity. I connected with you back in January, and there was just a presence that you have that is really inviting, and it's also a place of curiosity. Like really, like you create a curiosity, I think, and so, Baron, what is it for you today that you're really excited about and on fire in this moment?
I'm excited about today. Almost like it's for every day is, what are we you're sitting with? It's a new thought. The new thought. You get up and you're finding something to be excited. Today, it was working with the possibility that, when you sit here, or I sit here and I'm making a decision. I'm choosing the path of what's going to be happy for me. And I weigh and I look at it and I see my options, and it could be like, I see like a rainbow possibly. I can take the rainbow path over this way, or I can go this way, and I can go this way. And, and we sometimes, even though we know that we want to go over here, we take the trail kind of a different way. And that's kind of where I'm at today, laughing at myself. I'm like, I really want to do this, but I kind of wander over here a little bit. So I'm trying to guide myself back to, what's the best path for me to be successful? And success for me is being happy. What's going to make me happy so that I can be, my vibrant self, to make as many people around me, smile. That's it. How can I make more people smile? That's probably, that's where I'm trying to go.
I love that. Thank you, Baron. I can feel that. I can feel that energy radiating from you, and that place of success. What does success mean for you, and what is that? And it's happiness, and being able to really share that in community.
Yes, that's a funny. We talked a couple. Sent me some questions. We were talking about empathy and different stuff like that, and wanting to expand empathy. But that's the simple thing is, how do I get more people smiling due to me interacting with them? And that's it. Maybe it's a simple thing as just I smile and say hello. Hey, how you doing? I smile. And then I, compliment their nails. They have pretty nails. And then usually, that's an invitation to feel good about themselves and then to pass that along.
Yeah. Well, and it's about the invitation, isn't it? It is about that invitation.
Yes. Because a lot of times we get told, we're not supposed to interact with people, or this kind of person or that kind of person. And leave them alone. New York's so funny like that to me. We don't say hello. Oh yeah. As soon as I'm in New York, I love being in New York. We talk about nature, and that it's crazy to me. Like, because I say hello to everyone, and then I compliment like two things. Probably I try to, but then they all say hello back. And then it's the funniest thing is a lot of places I've been, and I've kind of done that most of my life. Tried to, because I was kind of brought up, but we don't say hello. We stare them in the eye and make them look away. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't feel right. So if I make eye contact, I try to say hello, and then people will say hello back, so it's not the fact that they don't want to, it's just nobody's doing it. So, and not nobody, but the more that we interact, the more that we present that, kindness, authentic kindness, I think the greater it grows.
So I have a really interesting question, Baron, and you have such a exciting, interesting background. You did an impeccable 25 years of service. Was it with the Marines?
About 22. It was my whole life. I decided, very young that I was going to go be a Marine. So at 6, I was going to be a Marine, and really from that 6-year-old self, I was always working towards being a Marine. I didn't know what it was, but I thought that I did. I created this, magical world of what a Marine should be doing. And then on my 18th birthday, I signed up, and then on my 40th birthday, I got out.
Yes.
Exactly what happened. My retirement ceremony was on my 40th birthday. So 22 years, about where we're at.
So it sounds, okay, so what I'm curious here, because of what you're sharing, it sounds like you have, you were very intent in your focus, and you accomplished a lot of things. You sat with a lot of places of leading thousands of people, and really sitting with, you know, commanders, and being able to be in these places of a lot of authority, right? And what I'm curious, because you just spoke to the place of, you know, in the invitation, right? The invitation to connect, to have these conversations. Do you feel that you were able to do that a lot in the past, is have this invitation for conversations? Or is this something that you're really working with to help people to open up these places of authentic giving and receiving?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. And I don't think so. A lot of the stuff, I mean, a lot of the different places that I got to position myself into to be able to speak to more people was because, hey, I want to go be over here. I think a lot of time I was actually had to figure out how to get around the obstacles that were in the way. Hey, I'm trying to get over here, you know, A, B, C, D, all the way through Z, triple Z was in the way, but I knew where I wanted to go. I figured out how to get there, and then, you know, let's work the magic and figure out how we can make it up to that spot. Because I want to be able to be next to somebody that's having an impact. You know, even as a small example, like an equal opportunity advisor. I'm a bald white guy, okay, that also seems kind of aggressive and a drill instructor and all these things. So when I was in a junior Marine position, I would always volunteer to be this equal opportunity person, and just no, it's like, that's a no, it's not you. But then later, as I got like in a higher position, then I volunteered. Then they're like, sure. It's almost like since I was in that higher position, that they just allowed me to be it. Mm-hmm. You know, instead of having to pick somebody else, I really wanted to do that, and then that put me in a position to work with different demographics that were having problems, and then be able to talk to the commander about those problems. You know, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, why is this happening? You know, and that's a big deal for me, is being able to, you know, influence really hardships that are going on around, and figuring out why, and why is this a problem? You know, what it shouldn't be. You know, it's just some small little hiccup here, systemically or not systemically, that's causing the issue. Let's figure out how to get around that thing so we don't have this issue. So that's kind of what I like about that. Does that answer the question? I don't know. I might start ranting. No. I get very excited about most things. So it's if I'm talking about it, I'm probably excited about it, and that's a big deal. Also, you know, love what you're doing and get excited about it. Otherwise, why are we doing it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, right. What is it that feeds you every day and that helps support this place of joy and happiness, right? So, Baron, this is I love this place of curiosity, because where you spoke to right there is that place. And I think that a lot of times you had specific strategies to overcome obstacles. You devised, you know, strategic planning, whether you knew it or not, right? Like you were able to access that place to overcome some obstacles. And then it obviously helped a lot of people, and also be able to address the abuse of power. So let's,
a lot there.
right?
You just said a lot of things. Strategic planning. We also can, you know, we work with in terms of manifestation. To me, mostly it's strategic planning, although stuff goes through it. Then yeah, the abuse of power. Abuse of power, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And I've got to be in a lot of positions to see it. And when you go anywhere, you see abuse of power. You go to the grocery store. Okay, the clerk is at the grocery store telling you can't buy your avocado for whatever reason. Now, you're going to get the avocado, but at that point in time, the person is trying to use that position of power to halt it. Why? That's a concept of working with a lot of logistics and customer service. It's like, we're there to try to help the person around us, not tell them no, just because we can't. The person is there. How do we make it yes? And it's like, maybe it is a no, but how do we make it yes? Otherwise, we're working backwards and wasting time. Because usually at the end of the day, the customer's not always right, but the customer is the customer, and we're going to figure out how to get there. So if we said no 5 times, or, you know, this guy said no and that guy said no, we know that if that person is persistent, that they're going to get their way, or they have to come back. We're wasting time. So let's get back to it. Let's try to help that person in whatever we're doing in life, and figure out, how do we make it a yes? You know, how do we help this, whatever's going on around us?
So you bring up something really interesting here. So in this conversation, what I'm really tuning into, Baron, is the place of you are really wanting to find these ways to find the yeses for people. And I feel like what you are doing is you're strategically opening up the door, the invitation for people to say yes. And you do that, every day in all sorts of interactions. And I will like, you personally, your physique, how you carry yourself, you could be very intimidating for a lot of people, right? And so I think that it's really profound that you are initiating these conversations in order to disarm, to allow people to really find their yeses, right? And to know that there's support.
And it's so funny because the support is there and it's around everyone, no matter what. We're on different levels of support, but it's out there how we're looking for it. But the funny thing, you talk about like your call it how the person looks or how they carry themselves. They look aggressive. It's actually a blessing. It's the greatest blessing, because when I'm walking up to someone and they think that I'm going to be rude, or they
Right.
think that I'm going to be like standoffish, and then I smile real big and shake their hand or say whatever, in that instant, so they thought this thing, and then they get the opposite of that. So it's like this invigorating feeling, like, oh, it's almost relief. And then this guy's being nice too. So it's like they've been joined by this person that they were kind of standoffish with before. Now it's like they're part of the club, and so it's really helped me more than anything. There's been some times, but not really. You empower yourself with however you act, you know what I'm saying? And it's really a blessing for me. Because like I said, they think I'm going to be one way, and then I end up also being another. I am. No, I can be aggressive on all that. So you can't judge a book by your cover. Sometimes you can't. You can tell what's inside that book if that cover is pretty good. If it's a blank cover, you can't. But sometimes a little bit about what's underneath. The hood from the actual car that's out there. I won't start rambling on that. But yeah, kind of a blessing.
So
I want to get me
Baron,
back on path. I got off. Start thinking. My brain starts going too much.
no, you're fine, because this leads me to the present moment, to right now. So
Yeah.
this place of being able to, a lot of times, when you meet people who are really friendly, you always like, there's these places, okay, what do they want from me? What is it that they want?
Yeah.
Right? Like they're being nice because they want something from me. Right? And I've experienced that a lot in my own journey. Like, why is she so friendly? She doesn't like, what is this about? Right. And so, I guess this place of the big yes here, the big yes in your life, right? Like, what is it that you really want to show up for in your life, Baron? What is it?
Well, I think the big thing is this all this stuff we're talking about, just the conversation. If I get to talk to more people about it, and you say the big yes, when you're taking a big yes, I mean, how many no's did you say? How many no's? We're not just saying yes, we're saying no to thousands of things by saying yes to this thing if we're going for the big one. Now we got to open the doors a little bit. But even like what you're talking about, because we get that innate feeling, and I believe me, I used to, for years, when somebody comes up and being nice, it's like, how is this person trying to get over on me? How are they trying to screw me? And I had to work my subconscious a lot, and working with different people. It's like, look, you're telling me this, I believe you, but my brain tells me it's not true. If your brain tells me that you're lying to me, I'm pretty good with people lying to me. A lot of times it actually happens. But also for getting out of the way of that, when I meet somebody and they're telling me, I believe you. You're a great person. You are telling me the truth until proven otherwise. Now, at the same time, that's having confidence in yourself that, well, when they screw it or when they take the path wrong, that you can identify that. Because it's not being a pushover. You have to be confident in yourself that you can acknowledge problems as they come without initially saying, hey, that's a problem. And that's it's all those things. It's the conversation. How do I get to talk to more people or experience more things with people that makes them think a little bit about how to go into positive psychology, help themselves in the life that's going on around them. And that's where I'm at. I'm like, how do I do that? And I got to more and more places with that, and I'm kind of rebuilding myself toward that's my yes now. We've talked about, I built myself here. How do I get to that place? And that's the path that I'm on. Does that answer your question?
That's a fantastic answer. And it really speaks to that place of trust, right? And our interactions with people. And do we just, go into that place? Okay, I'm going to trust this person, right? And then do I have the skills to navigate the areas if it kind of goes sideways, right? And do I trust myself?
It's a huge confidence thing. You got to, it's not easy. And I'm not saying, hey, this, because that's a hard thing to tell people. Okay, just because I'm doing that doesn't mean, hey, everybody go trust everybody that's out there. That's not what I'm saying. But where you're at in life, whatever job you're working, or this position you're doing this, or this position you're that, you're good at that. You know those things and how to navigate those things. Going to a grocery store, possibly. Up until recently, I wasn't good at grocery stores. I'm probably still not. But you can be confident in those things in your life. So not every single person, is out to get you. Not every single person is trying to get over on you. And so in those realms of your life where you do feel confident in control of what's occurring, you can be more open to kindness. And just that itself, just being at work or, being at the store, these little things, that leads us to bigger things later as we progress in our life. And it's a bigger picture and bigger picture. If that makes any sense at all.
You know what? It really does. Like the one thing that I'm just sensing from this, like just 2 days ago, I went to Whole Foods and there was the thing that I wanted seaweed packet for my kids. And, there was a guy stocking the shelves underneath and I was like, hey, I need to get in there, kind of, and so thank you, and just initiating that conversation. And I like, just how's your day going? You having a good day? Thank you. Like I said, thank you for being here. It means a lot. I appreciate your work. And I mean, but how many times? So what my question here is, this is a curiosity of, when we start these conversations, is it that a lot of times we don't trust ourselves in being able, if it starts to get more and more, right? There's more interest, there's more conversation. And then do we trust ourselves in going into these places? I guess that's the big thing. Do we trust ourselves?
And definitely. The reason or my understanding of a lot of these things is it comes down to ourselves and the confidence in ourselves. If we're always, suspect of the person, we don't begin the interaction with that person, right? A lot of times due to us not, knowing where they're coming from, what I'm saying? The fear of the unknown, so to speak, demographic or whatever it may be. So we don't know if we can navigate those rivers, so to speak. Is that kind of where we're going?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, but the more that we do interact, the more that we do talk with people and open ourselves up to different situations, the more that we can allow ourselves to go further and do the same.
Yes. Right. Okay. So in that place, and this is where, it really boils down to being able to trust yourself, having that knowing, of navigating these areas. And a lot of it is about growth. When we're dealing with relationships, with conversations, it's always about our own personal growth, right? Like we are developing skills. So I guess this is where I feel really alive with Baron. There's a vision and a mission that both you and I have. And I can feel that place of allowing people to know that there is no failures. A lot of times when relationships fall apart or there's devastating things that happen, if there's a lot of that, society, you're a failure or your business fails or whatever. So you offer a very unique perspective that adds a lot of value. And I would just like to really open that up right now because people beat themselves up. And I don't see that about you. Like, I think you're here to really show people, stop doing that.
It's a big deal. And we talk about failure. A lot of times failure, I don't understand failure. Okay. I understand that, hey, I had a challenge in front of me. I didn't quite get where I wanted to go. But I keep going at it until I do it again and again and again. I'll say that, I'm not really good at something the first time. I'm not. The second time I'm kind of getting it. The third time, I'm good. The fourth time, I'm one of the best. And that's what I tell myself. But so I got to keep going after it. I didn't fail the first time. I probably, volunteer, had no idea how to do it, and I'm figuring it out. So we're not failing, we're figuring it out. And that's kind of where that is. And from that perspective, the failure for me is kind of because I thought about it. What's failure? Failure for me is through the eyes of another person. These people, or whoever is out there, these people are saying you failed, that you didn't do it. Meanwhile, I'm like, I did it. I may not have done it the best this time, but it's done. Look at it, it's right there. And I might have to come back and try it out again and build it better and better as we go. But the thing I did the thing. And we talk about races, and this kind of a good example. When I show up to the race, and I'm trying to get to the end of that, that mile run. Did I make it to the end of that mile run? Maybe. Hopefully I did. And if I did, I was successful. Maybe I was dead last, but I made it to the end of that run. Now, if you came there expecting to win that race and had never ran before, the expectations might not be meeting up with what you're trying to get at. And that's a whole thing in itself, So expectations, failure, that is really a big connection there. That expectation control is massive. You can't expect your first time going into something for you to be the best at it. And it's not that you suck at it, because you're new at it. Everyone's like, oh, you suck. I'm not suck. I just did it for the first time. And that's a big deal with some different everyone. It's a big deal for everyone. Because when you go to a new job, or you go to a new school, or you have a new class, anytime you're doing something new, you don't know how to do it yet. You may have experience with some of it, but you're in a new program. So people that are still in that program look at you like, oh, you suck at that. It's terrible. I don't like that word. It has a lot of relativity to different positions I've been in. Like, you don't suck, you're new. You're going to learn, keep going. Yeah, because that's what it is. We get down on ourselves for being new about stuff, and that keeps us from growing. Because sure, if you sit here every day and you do the one thing you're great at, good for you. That's awesome. You're really great at doing that one thing. But your realm of control is limited to that thing. If you don't, if you're just really good at, at fishing, you might be great at fishing, but you can't go over here and talk to this person about flowers or whatever, the florist. I don't know. But if you talk to the florist and you go fishing and you play football and you do this thing, you do that thing, then you get to talk to more people. You have more confidence in yourself. You have more life experiences. More life experiences, the more confidence, so forth and so on, and it keeps going.
You just shared what I'm really picking up on here is the places of the expansion of empathy. What you're speaking to right now and what I'm hearing, that the expansion of empathy is the ability for people to grow outside of the one thing that they're really good at. Or the two things.
Well, expansion of empathy, and you're talking from the leadership perspective, because now big things, emotional intelligence and leadership, but you're not going to be, have empathy for that person just because you sat down and asked them about their dog, or asked them about how's your kid today? How's your kid today, Bob? If you don't sit down and really get into it, or have you not been there in that position and explored the different avenues out there, you're talking about expansion of empathy, it's understanding those people, understanding this group and that group. And a really limiting factor is when we put ourselves, my understanding of limiting factors is that we just pigeonhole ourselves into one kind of demographic or one way of being, and then we have no idea about these other people, whoever they are. And so ignorance grows from that. We don't know. And if you don't know, you don't know. So go figure it out. Talk to people. Get a better understanding of the people in your lives and they're around you. That's my concept on that. The more people we talk to, breaks down walls and builds trust in one another.
And that building of trust is so important. And I'm really excited about this place. So as you're speaking and sharing that, what I'm seeing is the places where you've supported men who are weeping, right? They're in that place of letting those barriers down, right? And you've seen that in the place of where you've supported people when they're letting their barriers down, right? They're realizing what is it that happens when we start to let those barriers down and go, okay, I've never done this before, right? And it's bringing up all my stuff, and then feeling like you're, able to disarm yourself and be real and be in the moment and say, I'm scared, you know.
Right.
And what is, so I guess, what is that for you? Because you've seen grown men weeping, right?
Yeah, but it's not about that. That kind of stuff, it's usually not due to, the breaking down of barrier. That's self stuff, them
Okay.
overcoming their self trials. When connecting with other people outside of us, it's that fear. The fear of unknown is everything. So before you actually open up and talk to somebody or try something new, it's like, I'm not going to be good enough. All right, I don't know enough. And then the second, like, you talk to a person and they talk back and they smile and say, hey, how you doing? It's gone. It's like, oh, this is so great. I have this, breath of fresh air. Maybe that's not where you're coming from. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about with men crying.
Well, okay, so what I'm curious about here is when we're allowing ourselves to try some new things, right? When we're
Right,
not just doing the one thing or the two or the 10 things that we're really good at,
right,
but we're expanding into this new area of something totally different, right?
right.
And then all the things that can come up with that, right? All
Yeah,
the
yeah.
different places
Oh, yeah.
of
Ooh,
insecurities, of
sure.
feeling that wow, I mean,
I
the
think I'm on board with you now. For me, it's, you think you're just this. You think you're this thing. You think you're a Marine, or you think you're a musician, or you think you're this. And then you find, and this is so exciting, that you're all these other things. And I'm like vibrating from that. And I like just say vibrate because I am. That's what it is. It's like, and I think that maybe where you're going with that. Yeah, it's like, I'm not just this thing. And it's so funny because, and we'll talk with the Marines, 22 years, you'll be with your buddies and then you get done and yeah, you were so great at this thing, so awesome. And you did multiple amazing things in this. And you're in the Marines and military and you're around a while, you're not just doing one thing usually. But then you get out and like, you got more time, like, I'm great at this. I'm going to go, start playing music. That seems great. I didn't have time for that before. Or I'm going to go do this thing or that, whatever you're doing. And it opens up, and to see the look in people's eyes when they realize that you can, do more than whatever it is you set out to in life, it's a big deal. It's massive. And everybody has that in them. They just got to kind of knock the door down and go try some other stuff out because they want to do it. It's in them. I want to go do this thing, but they're scared to try because they do this, and that's what it is. And then when they realize, oh man, I can do all these other things, it's like, that's amazing. And you can do most anything you set out your mind to if you believe and got enough time to work on it.
okay, wow, yes, all of that, and the what you're sharing here, Baron, is so important, and I really want the listeners to feel that place of what that feels like,
Oh
right?
yeah,
To be supported in that, to be seen in that, to be
right.
seen and trying and doing these new things, right?
Even for me, like, I'm this, and I grew up in a Marine, all this different stuff. And then I get to, I think, California, everybody talks, oh, you went to California, got Californicated. Well, I did. I really did. And I got there and somebody's like, oh, you should go try yoga with me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think yoga's going to be on my path. I don't think it's now. And like, no, just come to class. And then I did. And then there I am, in this yoga community. And it was, well, not scary, kind of scary. It's not, because how are they going to react to me? That's the feeling, I'm trying to start hugging people and stuff, but should I be hugging them? I don't know. So we got to try to, it's scary stuff, and then they actually kind of pulled me in pretty well in the meditation community too. I just love these people. It's amazing. And then you get to communicate with them. And for me, being in the yoga community or in the meditation community, it was like night and day. It's for me, like when you think about it, even though it's the same thing, it's the same stuff. Everything, I'm not gonna say everything's the same. I'm not going too deep down this rabbit hole, but that's it. Putting yourself out there, because I really wanted to do that. I want to go sit on the beach and do yoga. That seems cool. That is not a bad thing to do. It's pretty nice. But I'm raised in a swamp, Marine, freaking gun toter. So the opposite. So that's from, but I wanted to be on that opposite. I wanted to know that thing. I like extremities. I like, the right, all the different places. That's the expansion of empathy for me, is how far of extremities can you go and connect with these different people and then bring them together. That's what it is. Because if we work ourselves to get, more affluent to working with people, then we get to introduce them, that whole networking thing. Like, hey, here, talk to Tom, here, Bob, and so forth and so on. And now they have a connection, and it's fun. It's a real good fun time. And like I said, I'm all about fun. Let's be happy. That's it.
I love this so much. Okay. That piece right there. So the expansion of empathy is that ability to, I mean, what I hear you saying is that big yes, right? It's all of us being able to go into these bigger places of our yeses, right? The thing that we didn't think we would do.
Sure. Yeah,
right?
Let's go do that. We've not been, maybe we weren't saying we wanted to say yes to it. We weren't saying yes to it due to it being bad for us. Just we weren't saying yes. We want to. Like we go down the road, we're following our path. We have these things we want to do, and we limit ourselves to doing those. We didn't say no to it. We just hesitated and choose to do something else. But it wasn't that it was bad. It was that we didn't believe that we could do it. If that makes any sense, or we were scared to do it. I'm not good enough. Whatever. Stop. You're new. You haven't done it. Try it out. You don't like it? Okay, don't do it anymore. Okay, that was not for me, and move on to the next thing. If
Absolutely.
That's what's in your body. Or yes, well, why is this not for me? I really want to do this. Maybe there's something else limiting. Like I said, that's deeper down that trail of self.
Yep. Absolutely. So when you are helping, these places of personal mastery, of people, really
Right.
mastering themselves, what is it that you love the most in that process of seeing people becoming masters of themselves? What is that for you?
It's when they do it. It's for not they master themselves, but they want to do this thing. And we talk about strategic planning. That's it. Like you sit down. What do you want to do? I want to do this. I want to go to college. I want to do this thing. I want to do that thing. Well, let's figure out how to do that. Because I brought up earlier about support. A lot of times we don't believe that we can do the things we want to. What we don't know is there's somebody to our right or left that's already done that or knows how to do it. And by talking with those people, we can figure out how to do that. So when you sit down and this person doesn't think they can do this thing that they want to do, can't do it, not possible. Nobody's going to help me, can't get there. And then you sit down for like 5 minutes with somebody that's kind of worked on that. It's like, oh, it's right here. There it is. And that doesn't mean it's not a freebie. You got to get there because you can. And I've seen that a lot. Hey, I want to do this. Well, here's how you do it. And then you don't do it for whatever reason. And that's kind of goes back to those things. So, hey, once the path is presented that you've been wanting to do, I want to do that, you'll follow that path. Go after it. Don't use the but. It's always, well, but. Okay, here's what you want to do. And here's how to do it. And you can do it. It's not outside the realm of where your life is. It's within your interest in how we set up to do that. Go after that thing. Don't use the but. Because the second they pause, here's how you do this thing, then they pause. Well, but. And then they come up with all the reasons why they can't do this. And you can go look at all the business leadership stuff for that if you want to. And that's not really what I'm here for, but it happens. But
yes, leave the but out.
right.
So, okay. So what's coming up for me as we're talking about this right now, in 2011, I put up this like $10 million retreat center. It was, in Tacoma. Right. And I was like, okay, I'm putting that up on my refrigerator. I want to start an MPO. I desire to really support a mission of helping people become masters of themselves, to really connect with, yoga and connect with tools and resources to be able to help them in their lives, right? Come over. Sure. So that to me at that point was like, okay, that seems impossible, right? That seems impossible.
Right.
And so as I continually said yes to that, I have had to say no to a lot of things in this journey. And my willingness to say no to it is showing up in many ways in the now. And that's where you and I, are working together in this place of actually raising funds for an NPO that we want to create that really will be of service for a lot of people.
Definitely.
So the place here, what I hear from you, Baron, is that there's nothing too big, right? There's nothing too big. And for a person to realize and to understand how powerful they are,
Yes.
you know, how powerful they are, and to be able to embody that and then to start taking action every day in those places. I mean, that's what I hear resonating from you so deeply.
There's so many different things here. It's just because I like to work in reverse. I want to go here. And like we're talking about trying to do a retreat center and working on that. I want that. And then we make a vision of what we want to do. And then you see the vision. There it is. How do I get that thing? And that's the question. How do I get that thing? And then like for myself, like I'm kind of connected on it's up to you. Well, if I want that thing, I got to figure out how to get it. And then I start working towards getting it. It is on me as my responsibility to get to the place that I want to go. With that said, we were talking about support. We don't know everything. So it's reaching out those people around us while we're following that path to figure out how to best navigate that path with support of the others. Hey, how do I do this, brother? Oh, we've worked on this thing and you've done that thing. What do I need to do? It's not up to them to get us there, though. It's not up to them. And it's kind of funny when I say that, like I'll tell people sometimes I'm working with a bunch of people, maybe I forget something, God forbid that I forget something. You sent me this piece of paper that you need, but you need to sign to do whatever this thing is. And I really do want to help you. I do. But I'm working on 2,000 pieces of paper, And so you say, it's like, well, you haven't got back to me in 2 weeks. It's like, man, I forgot. As I will tell people, if I don't communicate with you like immediately, I've forgotten already. Probably. It's probably, so come back to me. I'm never going to be upset. You said, hey, can you look at this thing again? Never. Because I'm probably working towards something else for a level of importance for me. Because always, the most important thing is ourselves. We're working towards whatever. And I'm not saying that in a stuck-up way or nothing like that. So if you're needing help from somebody and you don't quite get it at the first time and they're supposed to work with you some more, hey, call them back and get some more information for them. It's up to you to keep the paperwork flowing, if that makes any sense in that. So we got to figure out what we want to do, how to get there, what support we need, and then following through with that support to ensure that we can, keep walking that path.
Okay, so what I hear is the ability to be able to navigate rejection, right? Whatever rejection shows up, like, and then that it's not really rejection, that it's just a place of, okay, well,
it's a creative rejection. You ask for help, and this is coming from me, and you think you didn't get it. Oh no, this guy said he was going to help me. Okay, ask him again, man. And if that doesn't work, if that relationship's not working, then guess what? That relationship's not working. Moving on to the next one, and so forth, and however you got to do. And then you got to keep moving forward.
Right. And then that's one step closer to the bigger goals and the places of what it is, and being able to go, okay, that's okay. That didn't work.
Didn't work.
And so I guess, so Baron, as we're coming to kind of a close here, what I'm picking up on in our conversation is trust is absolutely the biggest thing, right? Trust in yourself, knowing that you can trust others until they show you that, okay, this is not working anymore, right?
That's a good way to put it.
Right?
This doesn't work. And it's all right, let's go keep on moving. Here we go.
Right. And then knowing that there really is no failure. And for many of us, if we want to, what I'm hearing, if we want to really grow and expand the places of empathy, right? If we really want to grow and open up to these places, what I'm hearing from you is really powerful, because I think so many of us get stuck in how do you grow your empathy? How do you, where do I start? Does that mean that I'm giving my child an extra hug? What is that? What is that place of really embodying and expanding in empathy? And what I'm hearing from you is the ability to be able to allow the opportunities for many people to say yes to themselves, where maybe they would have never allowed an experience or a place of growth, because they felt that they were not able to do that because they didn't have the tools or the resources or the thing to do it.
I mean, the biggest thing for me, I mean, is definitely belief in self and confidence in self. And we talk about, the language of lines, and we're working on that program. And like, because failure is not in my mind. It's not, it's an accusing word. Why would I use that word? Like I said, it's a challenge. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm keep going. I'm going to come back and try it again. There's no, and it is that. So belief in self, and I'm going to figure out how to do this thing that I chose to do, and not giving up, and that doesn't mean that just because I chose to do it now and I didn't do it till 5 years down the road, timelines, we figure that, oh, I want this, so it has to happen now. Well, guess what? Sometimes we got to do a lot of stuff to get this thing that we want. It's not fast sometimes, but knowing that you can do that and following through on those things. And it takes a lot of steps to get to where we're trying to go, especially when you're reinventing yourself and you're trying something new. But the positive but here is you've been working towards those things. You've always, a lot of times, always wanted this thing you're kind of working towards, maybe since you were a little kid. That's a big deal to me. Maybe you became, an accountant or this thing or that thing, but you always wanted to be a drummer and had a drum your entire life. Whatever it is, probably. That's not everybody, but a lot of the stuff we choose and want to be, we want to be, a social worker or a psychiatrist or a doctor, and we got off these different paths. We were always working on it and embracing that, looking back, hey, what have I done that helps me get to this new plan that I'm working on? That's a big deal. And that you can do it. And if you can't, that there's support. Let's go call some people up and figure out what we need to do, and then work together to get there. And that's really it. The calling and asking, that's hard. It's hard to call somebody up and ask them, hey, I need some help with this. Because a lot of times that person is, like I said, working in that thing we don't know enough about. So we feel limited to being interact with those people. But I don't want to get, I'll go start ranting again.
So what's interesting, Baron? So the place I'm really feeling is that it's up to you, right? That right. Place, it's up to you. But okay, it's up to you. And when we're doing that, when we're taking action in that means it's a willingness to be able to ask for support.
Yes. And sometimes we got to do our research to know what to ask for. Mm-hmm. And believe me, every conversation is me talking about me. So when I'm trying to do fundraising, it's like I need to go learn enough so I can go talk to the right people to do all these things. And that's kind of wherever avenue we're in, that's kind of where we get. I don't know who to ask, and if I find out, I don't know what to ask them. So it's that kind of stuff we got to figure out for ourselves to be confident enough to interact in those different areas that we're unsure of.
I love it. So, okay. So that just, in this place of what the takeaways that I'm feeling from this conversation, and I like, is really that trust in self, which allows you to trust others, the place of, like, what does it mean to expand empathy? Like, what is that? Like, how do we allow that expansion, right? And then the place of the willingness to learn, to it's up to you means that can be a place of asking for support. And that timeline is it's not up to us. The timeline is not up to us, right?
Well, the timeline might be up to us, but we can't make the timeline tomorrow. if that makes any sense to it. Sometimes it is. Well, or we're going to have a whole bunch of steps, to get to that place. So maybe the timeline for step number 1 is tomorrow, and the timeline for this thing, right, we get to an end state that later down the road. And that doesn't mean, and I don't like using the shortcuts, but if we figure out how to ask for help and work with those that are helping us, I like how you use the up to you to follow through on the support. Hey, let's go back again. I didn't get quite what I needed. Yeah, the shortcut for success is not just bending the corners to break the rules, because that don't work for me. It's making sure you're thorough. It's follow through. Follow through is the shortcut. Because if we go over here and we just do it a little bit and we don't follow through on it, the door closes. You know,
Okay.
if we open the door and you don't step through the door shuts.
That's bingo. Whew. Okay, so like
That's fun.
right,
That's a lot of fun. Thank you.
like I can feel that right now. Like it's just like
Yeah.
a whoosh. It's the actual follow through.
Follow through it's huge, you know, like because we don't like asking for stuff. So we go over and we ask for the stuff, we don't get it, so we let it go. No, you got to keep going. And that doesn't mean it's not like you're abusing or bothering that person. Maybe that person isn't right, but if you're following through and it works, follow through. You know, you call back. Hey, what's going on with this thing that we were working on? Follow through is big, you know.
Well, so Baron, this is really amazing because, as we're speaking, it really feels the energy of this bigger place of service. What would it be like? I just am like fast forwarding for you as we're coming to a close here, like 3 years from now. Where do you see yourself?
In 3 to 5 years, I mean, I want to be in a place, a location, retreat location, or a teaching location. That's, I'd say retreat. It's a teaching location where you can bring these different people together and, whoever they may be, and just, be able to talk and communicate and learn about stuff that helps them helps them be more confident in themselves and their abilities to carry on in their life and whatever they do, whatever relationships. That's the relationships with the people around you, be it your girlfriend, be it your dog, your kid, your parents, all of these things. These are all one of the biggest struggles in our life is like, how do I talk to my wife? Really wish my kid called me more. It's big deals. How do I get along with a person at work that I don't know enough about? It's a lot easier than we make it. That's a whole nother story.
You know what? It actually is a lot easier than we make it. And that's, it really is, Baron. It's so interesting, right? This can be a whole nother conversation that we can dive into. I would like to have you back and we can talk about relationships and this piece. I think that would be amazing.
I pretty much never shut up. So as long as you keep asking me questions, I'll keep talking. Okay. I may be ranting about nothing to do with what you asked me, but I try not to. You just got to reel me back in.
Well, that's okay. And it's not, because this was a beautiful place of getting to that place of the follow through, right? Of right, being able to really root in and continually moving forward. So I guess what I would like to close with here in this place of our conversation, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you to actually be in that place of service for people with their relationships? What does that mean for you? Like what is that?
It's just that giddy feeling. It's just that little, and you see me laugh all the time. I just laugh all the time. It's that. When they're having this big major struggle, they're having a major struggle, and then there's some small little things like, oh, okay. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's it. It's a little bit, just take the time to think about it and, talk to somebody about it or whatever it is. And then you feel a little bit better. Then it's not that, it's because before we had this giant building falling on top of you. I can't do it. I can't do it. And then you talk for a little bit with somebody, open the door and like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. We got this. And it's that look like, oh, that breath of fresh air, like just kind of relax a little bit. Because before you're crippled, before the building was on your chest, you can't breathe. Taking that building off and let them say, it's not that big. It's not that big. We got this. It's okay. Great. It's wonderful. And it's doable. It's not just, we're not just running my mouth saying this stuff. It's not like, it's just fun. It's just talk with some people. And that's what I want to do. Because a lot of times people think they can't do things. They've been told they can't do things. They tell themselves they can't do things. They can do things. You can do things. We can do things, especially when we work together.
Okay, Baron, I'm just like, I am thrilled with this conversation that we've had today. And the place that is really exciting is when that block or that obstacle or that building is removed for people. And
it's fun.
Right? Like, and I think, when we're talking about that place, so many people in my place of work, they've come with shame, right? There's some sort of building, and that building is shame in a past relationship, something that happened, and they're not able to let it go, right?
Yep.
That's, yeah. Or
I
it
did
could
this,
be
you know, I don't deserve this or whatever. Yeah, it's
whatever it
things,
is, right?
whatever.
And so it's so interesting when that block or that building or that wall or that obstacle, however we want to describe it, is released, and then it's not even that we need community. We need each other, and it is up to us. But in that it being up to us, right,
Right.
we are asking for support, and it's okay to ask for support.
Yes. And then the best thing about it, the best thing is that guy that you asked for support is then you're going to be the support. You probably supported him by asking him. You probably made that person, you supported that person by asking them for help, you know, because he wants to help. A lot of times we have all this knowledge to help people that we don't get to. So
Yes.
we help each other by helping each other. And, you know, and sometimes the asking for the help, the person is just, thank you. Thank you. I'm just glad that I could help you. Because that's it. It doesn't feel bad to help people. It doesn't. It does not feel bad. It's a great feeling to be able to assist people when you can do that. So try that out. It's fun.
Yes. Oh my
It's
God,
not
Baron.
bad. It's
No, it's
not a horrible
not.
feeling. It's not really, it's not bad. No.
Oh my God. Baron, thank you so much for being here today in this conversation. I am so grateful for all the nuggets that you have dropped and in this place, and I really appreciate you. So thank you.
I just like talking. I appreciate you. And anytime. I like this kind of these things. I like talking about them, and it makes me really happy. And that's what I try to do.
It's beautiful. And you know, for all the listeners, this is new and exciting, these places of really launching the NPO that we're talking about and really doing these places of fundraising. We have a team, we're excited, and we're asking for support. You know, we're in a place of it's up to us. We know that, and we're
We're
also
figuring
asking
out
for
how to ask for
support.
support. Yeah, we're figuring it out. And
Yep.
that's fun too. It's scary, but you got to do it. You got to do it.
Yep, it's powerful. Well, Baron, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And with that, namaste.
Let's talk to you later. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.